Eddie Hearn has said that there are talks going on for a potential bout between Conor Benn and Manny Pacquiao. All I could do is laugh at this point with this Conor Benn thing. Like, what on earth is going on? I mean, at least Pacquiao is in Conor Benn's weight class, right? But Pacquiao is well past his best. And you just wonder about the thinking of this here. Yeah, there have been other contenders in the welterweight division who have been looking to take on Pacquiao. And many of the critics of Pacquiao over the years who were adamant that he was on PEDs, they might think it's quite fitting that Conor Benn is trying to fight this guy. And I'm not saying that Pacquiao ever did anything wrong in that regard, with PEDs, but many other people did, including Floyd Mayweather and many of Mayweather's fans. So they might find it quite fitting. But Conor Benn was being managed very well up until that Eubank debacle. They were picking the right fights at the right time, not only in terms of building his profile, but also developing him as a fighter. I thought they were doing a fantastic job. But I think Eddie Hearn and DAZN got greedy, and maybe Conor Benn got greedy, and tried to do that detour with a Chris Eubank Jr. fight. And one way or another, it backfired in a terrible way. Was that karma? I mean, personally, I don't believe in karma, but I know some of you guys, I'm certain some of you guys do. Maybe you'll feel that that's what that was. With them getting too greedy, it blew up in their face, some kind of poetic justice or whatever. But it appears that they're doing something similar again here. If that's what it actually was, they haven't learned their lesson, have they? Because they're not putting Conor Benn back on the path he was prior to the Eubank Jr. debacle. They're going for another circus type fight. And I say that with the greatest of respect to Manny Pacquiao because he is a legend, as we know. And it wasn't too long ago that he managed to upset Keith Thurman. But in more recent times, he did get beaten soundly, at least in my view, by Yordenis Ugas in a fight that he was supposed to win. So, look, with Conor Benn, if he was to fight Pacquiao at this stage, maybe I'm in the minority, and maybe I'm underestimating the negative effects on Conor Benn's performances, the potential negative effects on Conor Benn's performances, if he no longer has a certain substance in his system. There's no debating that he had the substance in his system. It's just that Conor Benn and his team are trying to debate how it got there. Okay, but that substance was in there. How much it helped his performances, I mean, we'll never know, right? But without that in there, will he be a significantly worse fighter? Will he be nowhere near as fast, explosive, strong? Will his punch resistance be worse, etc.? If that is the case, then maybe picking him to beat Manny Pacquiao at this stage will be an unwise thing to do. But if we see the Conor Benn who knocked out Chris Algieri, if that's the Conor Benn that steps in there against Pacquiao, I think Conor Benn will beat him. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think Conor Benn will beat him. I think Pacquiao's just too old now. I don't think he has the youth or vigor for these guys. I know Conor Benn hasn't fought anyone close to the experience and the ability of Manny Pacquiao, but Father Time is undefeated. And I just really feel that Conor Benn, with his explosive movement and coming forward and throwing loads of punches and his power, even though he isn't technically the best guy, I'd personally be picking him if, as I say, he's the same guy without that substance in his system. So, yeah, to me, this seems, long story short, the point I'm really getting at here is this just seems like a money fight. Matchroom trying to do this huge money fight with a big name before they've actually gone in there and fought for a world title at welterweight, And yeah, you can say that many fighters do this on the way up. But I don't know, there's just something circus-like about this to me. It just seems like a deviation from what Conor Benn was doing. And it's just like Matchroom have got it in their heads that they need to make a load of money out of this Conor Benn kid as soon as possible. Even if it deviates massively from the path that he was on, which was a very solid and straight path. So I don't know, maybe you guys feel different. Maybe you guys feel this is a far more reasonable fight. And it is a more reasonable fight than the Eubank Jr. one. But yeah, maybe you guys feel that it's a perfectly acceptable thing for Conor Benn to be doing now. If you are happy about him fighting again without clearing his name, that is. Because that's a whole other issue regarding VADA, UKAD, the British board, the WBC. You know me, I don't care about this WBC thing. I think that's a big distraction by Matchroom and Team Benn, getting people to focus on the verdict the WBC are going to come up with. I feel like I was the first person to really push that, pointing out that Eddie Hearn and Conor Benn are trying to distract the public with the WBC. I feel like I was the first person to really, I'm not asking for applause here, but it was kind of frustrating that people weren't really pressing Eddie Hearn on that and pressing Conor Benn on that when he's coming out saying, oh yeah, the WBC are going to do that. WBC? What are you talking about? The WBC only presided over the first test, and that had nothing to do with the Chris Eubank Jr. fight. VADA presided over both tests, yes, but the second test that Conor Benn failed was not in the WBC clean boxing program. It's got nothing to do with the WBC. That's why UKAD and the British board were investigating it. Eddie Hearn just wants to use all these distraction tactics, and that just makes him and Conor Benn look worse. And even someone who's trying their best to be objective like me is really going to struggle if Conor Benn, and when I say struggle, I mean struggle to continue to go down this neutral, objective path. I'm going to have to start drawing conclusions, and right now it's not favorable for Conor Benn and Eddie Hearn because they're talking about potentially not submitting this 260-page dossier of evidence, quote unquote, to the British board and having Conor Benn fight in other countries or fight under a different license for a different country. You know, that's a terrible look if they go down that road. So it is what it is. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. Conor Benn versus Manny Pacquiao. And presumably, this might be one of those fights, where Conor Benn either fights Pacquiao in the UK under a foreign license or fights Pacquiao abroad somewhere for an enormous amount of money. You guys let me know what you think about this in the comments below.
Are you sick and tired of the mainstream mindset? Does the dogmatic conformity and pathological ignorance have you tearing your hair out in frustration? Then don't be alone. Come and join our brotherhood on Patreon. We stand as a beacon of reason against an army of insanity. You'll gain access to my weekly topical podcast where we take more deep dives than Jacques Cousteau on an endless variety of subjects. There's also videos, interviews, live Q&As, as well as a vast back catalogue of previous episodes, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen via the Patreon app or download in high-quality MP3. Connect with myself and hundreds of other members in our Element chat group. There's no contract, no commitment, you can cancel at any time, and it's cheaper than a Mickey D's McMuffin. Just head to my Patreon page via the link below this video and select the tier called the Brotherhood of Reason. I'll see you over there.